"Stop, he's already dead," the vet shouted, until the officer did a technique no one expected. "Stop, he's already dead." The words ripped through the night like a siren, sharp and desperate, echoing across the rain-soaked highway. The veterinarian's hands were shaking, slick with blood, as she pressed her fingers against the dog's chest. The German shepherd lay motionless on the cold asphalt, his once alert eyes half open, glazed by shock. Traffic had been halted. Red and blue lights flashed like a broken heartbeat, and standing just a few steps away was a police officer who refused to step back. Officer Daniel Harris had seen death before. Too much of it, but this was different. The dog's name was Rex. Rex wasn't just a K-9 unit. He was a partner, a protector, a silent hero who had saved lives without ever asking for recognition. And now, after being struck by a speeding truck during a late-night pursuit, Rex lay broken between two worlds while rain washed his blood into the cracks of the road. Dr. Emily Carter, the emergency vet called to the scene, had done everything she could. She had tried compressions, she had tried oxygen, she had listened, again and again, for a heartbeat that refused to return. "There's no pulse," she said again, her voice cracking. "I'm sorry, we need to stop." Officers nearby lowered their heads. One of them turned away, wiping his eyes. Rex's handler fell to his knees, sobbing into his gloves. The moment felt final, heavy, unavoidable. But Officer Harris didn't move. He stepped closer, kneeling beside Rex, his jaw clenched so tightly it trembled. "Give me 1 minute," he said quietly. "Doctor." Carter looked up, startled. "Officer, I understand you're in shock, but..." "1 minute," he repeated. There was no anger in his voice, only resolve. She hesitated. Every instinct told her it was over. Medically, it made no sense. But something in the officer's eyes stopped her from pulling him away. "Fine," she whispered. 1 minute. Harris placed his hands gently on Rex's chest. Not for compressions, he had seen those fail. Instead, he adjusted the dog's neck, angling the head slightly back. His movements were careful, practiced. The surrounding officers exchanged confused glances. "What is he doing?" someone murmured. Harris closed his eyes. Years ago, before the badge, before the streets and the sirens, he had been a farm boy. He had grown up with animals, horses, dogs, livestock. And when his father had taught him how to save a choking calf, he had learned something most people never did. Sometimes life didn't need force, it needed release. Rex's breathing had stopped, but Harris remembered a technique his father had shown him, one rarely used, almost forgotten. A way to stimulate the vagus nerve, to reset the body's rhythm when trauma caused the heart to lock itself in silence. He placed his fingers just below Rex's jaw, applying firm, precise pressure while using his other hand to gently stretch the dog's foreleg. It looked strange, almost useless. "Doctor." Carter opened her mouth to protest. Then Rex's body twitched. "Wait," she said sharply. Harris didn't stop. Sweat mixed with rain on his forehead as he focused every ounce of belief into his hands. 10 seconds passed, then 20. A weak gasp escaped Rex's throat. It was barely a sound, but it was enough. "He's breathing," someone shouted. "Doctor." Carter lunged forward, pressing her stethoscope to Rex's chest. Her eyes widened. I have a faint heartbeat." The road went silent. Officers froze. The handler covered his mouth, disbelief flooding his face. "Doctor." Carter's hands moved fast now, adrenaline surging as she shouted for equipment. Rex wasn't safe. Not yet, but he was alive. They rushed him into the emergency vehicle, sirens screaming as if they were willing life itself back into his body. Officer Harris rode in the back, one hand resting on Rex's side, whispering words only the dog could hear. "Stay with us, buddy. You're not done yet." The surgery lasted hours. Bones were broken, internal injuries threatened to steal him back. More than once, Drive. Carter thought they would lose him. But Rex fought. By dawn, the worst was over. When Dr. Carter stepped out of the operating room, her scrub stained and her eyes exhausted, she found Officer Harris still sitting in the hallway. He hadn't moved all night. "He made it," she said softly. Harris let out a breath he felt like he'd been holding for years. A week later, Rex opened his eyes. Recovery was slow, painful. There were setbacks, moments when hope wavered. But every day, Rex grew stronger. And every day, Officer Harris visited, even when he wasn't scheduled to work, even when his own body begged for rest. One afternoon, Drive, Carter finally asked the question that had haunted her since that night. What you did on the road, she said. That technique, where did you learn it? Harris smiled faintly. My dad, he used to say life doesn't always leave, it just gets stuck. Months later, Rex walked again. Not as fast, not as strong, but with the same loyal fire in his eyes. The department held a small ceremony when Rex returned, retired from active duty but honored as a hero. There were speeches, applause, tears, and when Rex limped toward Officer Harris, tail wagging, the message was clear. Sometimes, when everyone says it's over, when logic gives up, when even experts say there's nothing left to do, all it takes is one person who refuses to stop trying. Because hope doesn't always look like miracles. Sometimes, it looks like a pair of steady hands, and the courage to believe that life is worth one more minute.